And we are
Awesome.
live.
Live.
Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of Webflail, the podcast dedicated to uncovering the greatest failures behind the greatest Webflowers. Because success often comes after learning from many failures. I'm your host, Jack Redley, a failure connoisseur, and today my guest is Shais Ahmad, the CEO of Pristine Digital and co founder of YouTube channel Talkflow. It's an honor to have you here, Shais.
Thank you very much, Jack. It's a pleasure to be here. Excited to just have a chill chat about Webflow and my failures. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm
Yeah.
a failure connoisseur as well, so we have a lot to talk about. Sure.
And I was going to ask you about that. So, what is the first failure that you remember?
Oof. I think the first failure. Okay. I don't want to. I know. I don't know if it was my first failure because I don't really track them. To be honest, who does? But I clearly remember. So when I first got started into Webflow, the first ever project that I'd done was my own agency website. So I didn't design it in Figma at all. So I just jumped in Webflow and designed it there, which is I don't recommend anyone doing that. But yes, I remember I developed inside of Webflow. I thought the design was sick, and I remember there's this channel, this YouTube channel called A Nerd's World. You know, the owner, his name's Chris. He owns a web design agency in Canada, but he works with WordPress. And yeah, he had like a Discord channel that I was part of. Just people just talking about website design and whatnot. Thought to be a part of it. And there was one channel where you can show your work. So I showed my first ever project, and I thought it was gonna be sick. I thought everyone's gonna be all over me saying, "Bro, this is so sick." And then, unfortunately, reality hit me, and yeah, not everyone, but there was a lot of people that said, "What the hell is this and that? The colors are off. The contrast ratio." I remember a lot of people were bugging out about the contrast ratios. Said, "Oh, you can't read the text. The color's too bright," stuff like that. And I was like, I looked, and after I was like, "What the hell?" I thought I'm really proud of this, man. Like, why doesn't anyone like it? So then, I mean, obviously, like anyone, I was like, "Oh shit." But then after a while, I was like, you know what? People don't mean, people don't have malicious intent when they say this kind of stuff. It was just feedback, honest feedback. So I use that feedback to kind of improve. And yeah, I think the second one was a little bit better. I put it on the channel again, and people say, yeah, it's improved. But now I think this one, because I rebranded recently, so I think around 2-3 weeks ago, and I think this one's a lot better than the second one. So it just gave me a lesson. Although it was a failure, the lesson I can tell you about it is that it really did help me improve. And I think from that point onwards, I never took any criticism as a personally. I literally just took it as, okay, this is feedback, this is how I can improve, and this is how I learn from it, pretty much.
Yeah, I think learning to take criticism is one of the hardest things. That is like one of the most important and unspoken skills that Webflowers have or don't. I think when someone's like, "This is shit," or okay, it depends what the criticism, how they're phrasing the criticism. But most of the time, people are coming from the place of, "I'm trying to help," and
Yeah.
this isn't what it could be, type thing. But yeah, especially on Discord, because I've put stuff on Discord groups, and there's some savage, like there's some cutting criticism. I think there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there that are willing to take you down. But you said your first failure there was like a Webflow orientated one. I mean, what has you're obviously really young, and you've grown this agency to 5 people now, and it seems like a real upward trajectory. Do you can you tell us a little bit about your path into actually using Webflow?
Oof. Okay. My path towards Webflow. I mean, I talk about this in Talkflow. Check it out if you want. But yeah, I talk about this in my first ever Talkflow episode. But yeah, and I also hop on a call with quite a lot of freelancers that are looking for help, and I also tell them this. But yeah, anyways, I'll say it again. There's a lot of there was a lot of like up and downs for me. It wasn't like, okay, I started this business and then just went smooth sailing upwards. I started this when I was 17, so I'm 20 now. So I started fairly young. I was still in school. For the people in UK, Jack, I'm sure I was in sixth form, year 13. This was February 2020, so wow, I was 17 at that time. I'm born in March, so it was literally one month before my 18th birthday. That's when I started it. So I started learning HTML, CSS. So the first ever, so the thing that kind of gave me the activation energy to start was I was in sixth form. I was doing biology, chemistry, and maths for my sixth form subjects or A-level subjects, and I was kind of ahead on like in terms of the content wise, and I was kind of ahead in my exams. I was like fairly academic, I would like to say. So I was a bit bored, to be honest. And as any normal 17-year-old, what they would do is they just binge watch Netflix, play some games, PS4, whatnot. I was a person. I think for me, for people my age, they'll understand there's a bunch of different things that people do. It's either they play a bunch of games, they hop out a lot with their friends, or they just binge watch Netflix. And I was a person who used to binge watch Netflix and YouTube all day. So that was me. I never really used to play games or whatnot. But yeah, I was binge watching a lot of Netflix, and naturally I was like, what am I doing with my life? I think one point that's what I said to myself, what am I doing with my life? So I was 17 thinking like this. And before this, I had a lot of other businesses before that obviously failed. I had like a drop shipping business that failed. I used to set cat litter mats. So I used to sell those. I got like 3 sales. 2 of them, their child or their kid accidentally bought it, so I had to refund them. So I only got 1 sale at the end. But yeah, I had like an affiliate. I'll profit some affiliate program, which is I used to sell drones. I used to sell a lot of designer t-shirts on eBay. It got taken down because of copyright. So I had a lot of stuff, but at 17, when I was sitting there, because a lot of stuff failed, I was like, you know what? I need to learn a skill. I need to learn a hardcore skill that I can use, and it can, help me, make some money over time. So I needed a high income skill. So I went on YouTube like any normal person would, and I found website design. There was a lot of other stuff like dropship or whatnot, but I already been through that, so I kind of ignored it. So I wanted, hard skills that I can learn. And Ali Abdal, he mentioned to everyone, he mentioned on one of his YouTube channels that he recommends everyone to learn HTML and CSS, which is, the base coding language of the web. So, I took his advice, started learning it. And then eventually, naturally, I went on YouTube, started searching more about websites, and I came across Nerd's World. He was the first person to kind of spark this interest of starting an agency. So he had an agency. And I remember the first video that I watched of him was a Q&A. And in that Q&A, there was a person that mentioned, Chris, the Nerd's World agency owner, Chris, you've helped me so much. I'm making like 100K a month right now. I really appreciate you. And yeah, I was like, what the hell? He's making 100K a month building websites? I was like, damn. So I started delving more and more into it. And then eventually, bear in mind, at this point, I bought a course on Udemy to learn HTML and CSS. It was like £12, so it was very cheap. So I was learning HTML and CSS, learning HTML and CSS every night, actually. So in the morning, I used to mess about, and then at night, I used to, actually focus and work. And then there was a point, I never built any fully-fledged websites using HTML and CSS. I just built like certain sections. And then I thought I was good enough to actually build a website. And then I went on YouTube again, and I stumbled across Webflow. I'm not sure if it was an ad of Webflow or if it was one of Flux Academy's videos. I believe it was a Flux Academy video, So I watched a video of him. He was talking about Webflow. And it was quite interesting. Straight away, I signed up, and I thought, you know what? This is so sick. Like, this entire time, I've been hard coding HTML and CSS, but I can just do this visually. So I was like, you know what? That's a no-brainer. So I signed up. Literally, ever since then, that's the only platform I've ever used. Never touched WordPress. Never touched any other platform. So yeah, that's how I stumbled across Webflow.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, you've got like a kind of coding background, and then like basic down, and then you came across Webflow, and that was where it all started.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
There's been like a kind of meteoric rise in the last few years. Then I mean, in a very, very short time, you've grown a hell of a lot. And as with anything that grows really fast, there are kind of big challenges that you need to overcome. So let's get into your failures now. Tell me about your first failure. You rejected projects due to internal values, and hence you missed out.
Yeah, so with that, there was a lot of projects in the beginning of my career that I had to just reject. By internal values is, so I'm Muslim, so there's a lot of stuff, that I couldn't really do. For example, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't do nothing. I don't, smoke weed or whatever. I don't do any drugs. So it's like, and those are not allowed, you know, in my religion and whatnot. And I hold it very close to my heart. So for religious reasons, pretty much. And my religious reasons make my kind of internal values. Does that make sense? So whenever I see, so I had a bunch of like companies in the beginning that I couldn't really do. And even now, literally like 2-3 days ago, there was a company who invests in cannabis companies and I had to reject them. You know, so I don't work with companies that are like alcohol, that do anything related to alcohol, you know, drugs or recreational drugs at least, or you know, adult stuff. You know, like I had a website project, you know, I think a year ago, wanted me to build a sex toy website, so I said no straight away. I had like a bunch of alcohol companies reach out. I said no. So like those projects I kind of had to reject, and there was a few that were very high budget that would have like undoubtedly excelled like me in my career. Like it would have been a banging portfolio piece, but I said no due to internal reasons. So yeah, there's a lot of projects I missed on, a lot of money that I left on the table, but it was all for good reasons. So obviously there's a little bit of like that pit in your stomach saying, oh, like you missed out on money, but at the end of the day it always pays off. You know, I feel like the person that literally just takes on every single project or literally does anything they want without you know, having an anchor of internal values or beliefs, is a bit empty for me. I feel like every single person always should have some internal values and beliefs to kind of hold and kind of have an anchor or compass, rather a moral compass, rather you say, to kind of guide you through, you know, your business life and also your personal life as well. So I kind of use my moral compass to guide me in my personal life as well as my business life. So I always, so yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. It's like I had to reject a couple projects due to my internal moral compass, would you rather say. So yeah,
that's really interesting though, that you had such a firm moral compass even at such a young age to reject big money. There seems to be this kind of hype on Twitter and you know, the Webflow Facebook group and stuff, where people say, how do I get a 10K client? How do I get a 10K client? 10K client. And it's never like the type of client that's specified. It's never like a 10K environmentally conscious client or whatever. It's like 10K, right? I'm looking at the big fish here. That's what I want to get. And it's interesting that you know, recognized your compass before you know, getting that like dollar signs in your eye type thing. What is your advice to someone that is taking on any project right now? I mean, what do you have, like a kind of home-based document on your, I don't know, your team files that's like, these are our values and we do not stray from them? Or, you know, what advice would you give to a freelancer that's so hungry for a big money project and is willing to do whatever project as long as there's the money there?
Yeah, I think in terms of, I don't really have like an internal document like, oh, I have my values. The thing is more personal. I feel, and I think this kind of, I'm not sure if this is a little bit related, but it's a bit kind of off topic. But I feel like if you in business, a lot, like you said, a lot of people want that 10K client. A lot of people want to make 10K a month, 100K a year, whatnot. I feel like if you just get the basic fundamentals right, like stop doing the things that are wrong, like, you know, whatever. This is more like productivity and like the way of life, but stop drinking, stop smoking, stop, you know, wasting time, stop doing this, stop doing that. I feel like once you get your foundational things right, like start you know, being present. If you want to meditate. If you want to pray. Start, you know, focusing on your health, you know, focusing on what you consume. You know, but by consumption I mean like the content that you consume, and also the food that you consume, everything that you consume. So once you start focusing on those foundational things, everything else will fall into place. You can start getting the 10K client. But yeah, I mean, in terms of my advice is like, if you go with your gut feeling, like if you feel like something is like the project is just not a good fit for you, just don't do it. For me, my reasons are religious, and the majority of my team are Muslim like myself as well, so they all of my team understands. But yeah, I mean, is more of a personal question. Like I can't answer for every single person, but it's literally just look at what your internal values are, and then if you see a project that you think is a good fit for you, then go for it. And also on top of that is like, when people, like you mentioned, Jack, a lot of people want these 10K projects and they're willing to do anything for it. It's not even about like the type of client that they get. Like they don't care about the client. It's not even just that. is that they also are willing to do anything in themselves to get the client as well. So they're willing to lie. They're willing to hide the truth with the client. They're willing to, kind of inflate their numbers with the client to get the client. So for example, you can say, yeah, we got a team of 50 people when in reality it's only you. Or yeah, we got like a portfolio of 500 million items when it's only 5. So it's like, it's also that as well. That is part of your moral compass as well, like knowing that you have to be transparent with your clients. You can't, have a form of deception. You have to kind of tell your clients what they're getting themselves into, because at the end of the day, they're the one who's giving their hard-earned money to you and trusting you. So the least they deserve is the truth. So there's a lot of stuff that go into your moral compass. It's not only about the type of project that you take on, it's also about how you approach projects and the whole process of your business, to be honest. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we can touch upon there, but just to answer your question in short, yeah, it's just about your internal values. I can't tell you what internal values are. You have to look at within yourself and tell yourself, okay, if this project is good for me, it's good for me. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah, and I'd circle back to also what you said about just getting the fundamentals down in terms of like your personal life with health, eating right, etc. But also getting the fundamentals of Webflow down. Like, so many people are like, how do I get a 5K client? How do I get a 10K client?
Exactly.
Like, what is your class naming system? Like, what
exactly?
Do you even have the fundamentals down yourself to even be charging those type of numbers? Like, what value are you bringing to the client if you're not? So, yeah, if there's anyone out there watching who's like, I want to get a 10K client, how do I do it, Shais? I think I'd back him and just say, maybe that's the wrong question to ask yourself if you're starting out, or even 100%. Down the line. Like, what value are you providing to who? Yeah, I think though, having some kind of internal document, I've worked for a couple of different agencies and they have like a home-based document, which is like, these are the type of people that we want to hire and these are the type of clients that we want to work with, which I think is quite an interesting thing to do as well. So even if you're a freelancer who's listening now, then I'd recommend doing that as well. It's quite a useful thing to do. It doesn't really sound like that's a failure at all though, Shais, your first one, rejecting these. It sounds like a huge win. This is the first time this happened on the Webflow podcast where someone says a failure that's really not a failure at all in my head. But
I mean, I know what you mean, but at the same time, if you look at it with face value, it is kind of like a failure because you missed out on money at the end of the day. But yeah, you are right when you kind of delve into it, and it doesn't feel like a failure to me, but on surface level, it is kind of a failure, like on paper. But yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, once you look at all the facts, this is not really a failure, to be honest.
Tell me about failure number 2 then. You got sued by one of your first clients. 17. I feel like this is going to be a gut wrencher.
This one is messed up, man. So did I say 17? I was meant to say 18, my bad. But I don't think that really makes a difference. But yeah, this was like one of my first ever projects. Probably like my second or third. It was for a lawyer, right? I'm not going to name names, but it's a lawyer, right? It was a law firm actually in London. And what happened was pretty much I got the client. It was pretty much a fluke, right? Like I remember at the beginning of my career, I used to do, outreach a lot. Obviously, I don't do that anymore because it's bullshit and it doesn't work. Anyone that's watching, never ever do outreach. But I used to do a lot of outreach on Facebook and I think Instagram. I'm not really too sure. But yeah, I remember I just randomly sent. By the way, I've sent thousands of emails, outreach emails, cold emails, outreach messages on Facebook. Only one of them converted, and that was from pure luck. So I messaged this random lady on Facebook. She happened to own a law firm, and she happened to, wanting to find a website builder at that time. So we hopped on a call. She agreed to a price. It was all right. I think it was something around £1,100. That was good for my first ever project, or second. And yeah, so pretty much, I didn't have my processes straight as usual because it's your first ever client. You don't really know what you're doing. So I thought, you know what, this is easy. £1,100, easy, man. I can just literally grab a template on Webflow, $50, tweak it up to match the content and colors, easy peasy. So that's what I'd done. At the end, she was like, yeah, I like it. It's all right. Yeah, like she was happy with it. She was content with it. She was satisfied. And I just sent it off to her. And then the thing is, she said, oh, there's no content in it. There's no copy. I told her from the beginning, even on the contract, at least I had a contract at the time. So In the contract, I told her I'm just going to be doing the website for you. In terms of your copywriting on content, I can't do that for you. I am not a lawyer. I do not know what to put on your website in terms of your copywriting. So she said, yeah, okay, I'll just get my copywriting done from somewhere else. And then 6 months or like 6, 7, 8 months later, she emailed me back and saying, oh, I got my content ready. Can you add it to the website? I said, yeah, cool. Here's my hourly rate. Let's go ahead. And then she came back saying, what? Hourly rate? What are you talking about? I already paid for the project. Like, just add it in. I was like, listen, in the contract it said you only get free support after 1 month. I don't know if it was 1 month or 2 months, but it's for a limited amount of time after the project is complete. That's when you get free support. After that, you will incur an additional charge, which is what it said on the contract. And she just got really, really angry, I think, and a bit aggy, and so I was saying, what? No, what value have you ever provided for me? I'm going to send you a letter of defamation. And she did. She sent me like an email. It was an email of defamation at the time. But she sent me like an email saying, oh, this is, I don't know what it was. It was like basically like a lawsuit saying, oh, this is what you done, whatever, by one of the lawyers in a firm. And then what happened at that time, because this was like 6, 7 months later, I happened to get like a few more clients from there. And one of the clients happened to be like, he was such a chill guy. Like he was super blessed. And what happened was he owned a law firm. So he didn't work in it. That was one of his businesses, but he owned a law firm. I'm not sure, Jack, are you like a big football fan or?
I mean, I support Newcastle, but you know.
Oh, right, I see.
Yeah.
But those that watch football, if you know the owner of Chelsea, his name is Abramovich, and he's the richest person in Russia. And during the time of my lawsuit, he was also going through a lawsuit. And the lawyer that represented him worked in one of my clients' firm. So my client, he owned this law firm where the lawyer of the richest man in Russia, where he represented the richest man in Russia. So I called him. I said, yo, like, I got this client. She's taking the piss and whatnot. He was like, bro, so let me handle it. And then I was like, cool. So he got his lawyer involved. He emailed her and he sorted it at the end, although there was a little bit of back and forth, but he sorted it at the end. And then at the end, bear in mind, at this time, I'm 18, bro. I was out of school. I had literally just in my room alone. I wasn't really going out. It was COVID, isn't it? So I wasn't really going out. I was just focused on my work. And I was stressed, bro. Like, I remember I used to just go on walks. I never go on walks. I was just going on walks. Like, oh, man, what is going on? This and that. And, at the end, we agreed I have to remove all of her intellectual property from my website because I did have, like, a portfolio, her project on my website. So I had to remove that. And also her logo. And I remember the final email that she sent me was saying, I don't want your shit brand. I don't want to be associated with your shit brand. Take my website off your website. I was like, what? Sure, man. I literally told her, like, just whatever. But I just, bear in mind, during this entire email thread, I was completely polite. I was 100% professional, completely polite. I didn't use one curse word. I didn't say anything wrong. I was completely 100% polite. But on the other hand, I don't know what she was doing. But yeah, that's kind of the story in short of how I got sued by a client. But it worked out at the end, so it's cool.
That is so random. Like, that story had so many turns. What? Okay, like, maybe this is the obvious question, but why didn't you just do you were literally putting copy into divs, right? Like, why didn't you just do that?
You're right. That is a question that I also asked myself, and I was going to do it, but bear in mind, this client was a pain in the ass. Like, this client was really annoying, and it wasn't okay. I should have clarified it. There wasn't only copy. There was copy, but then she also wanted to make like a CMS for like the blog and add all of the blog posts and stuff. So there was a bit more than copy, just like copy pasting text in the Webflail site. So yeah, that is a good question. But and this client was really annoying. So I didn't want to work with them. Like, so I was like, you know what? If I am going to work with them, I might as well just get paid. And on top of that, there was some other stuff involved, like I had to create a CMS as well. So it wasn't just like easy work. It was like a bit more work. So yeah, that was the reason. But I quite like the main reason was I just didn't really want to work with her. So yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's so rogue, that whole story. At 18 as well, like getting sued. I'd be shitting myself. 18. Can we circle back to something you said at the start of this, where you were talking about doing a lot of cold outreach and saying it was a complete waste of time? I think a lot of people that are listening to this or watching this, they might be like, wait, why is it a complete waste of time? Why is cold outreach a waste of time? And if it is a waste of time, what do you recommend doing in terms of attaining clients?
I got the perfect answer to that. And I think I've cracked the code into why outreach is complete bullshit. Now, to be honest, outreach is, the thing is, outreach works, but not with websites. And I'll tell you the reason why. With outreach, you have a very limited amount of words you can say. So you have a very limited amount of time to convince a client, right? And in that limited amount of time, it's very easy for an ad agency. If you run an ad agency, you can easily go on the client and say, "Oh, hi, I see you work in the jewelry industry. Here's a case study of a jewelry industry of another jewelry company that we increased their revenue by X amount to X amount." So it's very easy for a ads company or another company to bring in quantitative results. When you're in the website industry, there is no quantitative results. Yes, you can say bounce rate. Yes, you can say you increase conversions, but there's no direct correlation on the website, right? So it's very hard to sell websites with a very limited amount of time. And on top of that, design is very subjective. So not every single client will like your website that you send them, via cold email. With an ad, you can say, yes, I increased this company's revenue by 1,000% through Facebook ads. Who is not going to like that? But then on the other hand, if I send them a website that I done, the client liked it, but I send it to them, but they might not like it. So there's a lot of caveats, and it's very subjective with because websites do not have much, if any, quantitative results. It's very hard to sell it with a very limited amount of time through the medium of cold outreach. So that is a reason why, So instead, what I would recommend is, and on top of that, it's very saturated as well. Like the whole outreach thing is it's like whenever, for example, even yourself, Jack, like I'm sure that you get like some outreach emails, and whoever does get like cold emails, your bullshit meter, whenever I receive a cold email, is 100%, and it's very hard to reduce that. Unless like you have a very interesting offer or whatnot, it's very hard to kind of reduce my bullshit meter whenever a random person that I don't know emails me. So saying that, the way to kind of go about your outreach, actually, before I get into that, even if your outreach does work, let's say you do get a client, let's say you do get another client, right? It has a very low ROI. There's much better ways to invest your time that can get you way better results. And I'll kind of name a few of them right now. So the number one way I found to kind of put your name out there is clonables and demo sites, or sample websites, whatever you want to call it, right? The main problem, right, with a freelancer or an agency owner when they're starting to create is that they have no portfolio items. Your portfolio is the foundation and life of your business when you're in this industry, right? Without a portfolio, you don't have your engine is gone, right? Because you have no work to show. It's like, imagine a car dealership having no cars, right? It doesn't make sense. Your portfolio, your work is your life in this business. And when you have no clients, there's kind of like never-ending circle, right? Comes in. Oh, I don't have a portfolio. Let me get clients. Oh, I can't get clients. I have no portfolio. So the way to kind of break through that is to kind of design your own projects and build fake websites for fake clients. And a lot of people, when they hear this, they say, "Oh, but clients, what's it called? They're fake clients, though. A lot of clients will, not really look at." But trust me, I've seen this so many times. Clients do not care if your website is for a fake company. As long as they see good design with good Webflail development, they don't give a shit. I'm telling you right now. So undoubtedly the best way is to create demo sites and clonables. That's number one. What it does is it eliminates the problem of not having a portfolio. Number two, it eliminates the problem of not having of not having clients. And number three, it puts you out there, it puts your work out there. So it's the best way to kind of grow and to show people or show clients and to the industry, this is what I do, this is what I'm capable of, please hire me. And that is the best way to kind of sell yourself, because again, in this industry, it's not quantitative results, it's very subjective. So you have to have a visual representation of what you can do. And the best way to do that is to create demo sites and clonables. In my opinion, that's what I found.
Great stuff. And then from the demo sites and clonables, you've obviously got, a fuller portfolio. But for anyone watching now, I mean, obviously the ideal scenario is that clients will then email you and say, "Hey, we want to work with you." Did you find that at the start? I mean, you built clonables, you had demo sites, and then people just came to you? Was that naturally how it happened, or did you start posting your clonables and demos on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or kind of what was the next step?
Yeah, honestly, so the thing is with the next step, right? What I used to do is, yes, clients did come to me through, the Webflow showcase, through LinkedIn, whatnot. They see my work and say, okay, you know what, this guy's good. Another very, very good revenue source for me was freelancer platforms. So Upwork, Yuno Juno is a good one as well. There's a bunch of freelance platforms that I have accounts with. I don't really use it anymore, but I used to have these platforms, and with these platforms, whenever I used to create demos, I used to put those projects on it, and then clients would reach out to me. Or whenever I used to apply for proposal, at least I have assets to back me up, and that was the main thing, right? I was sending proposal on proposal on proposal, like through all of these various freelancer platforms, and very, very select few people that I used to like. I know I said don't do outreach, but I do used to send cold emails to very, very few selected people or companies. For example, a company that I see, okay, they're like perfect for me. They're based in London. I remember there's one company, right, where the owner was a dentist. I'm a dental student. That's perfect. He was Asian. I'm Asian. He's similar age. I'm a similar age. So it's like, and he was based in London as well. So I reached out to him and I got the project. So it's very, very, my outreach was very, very targeted. But the only reason the outreach worked is because I had those demo sites clonables to back me up. So yeah, whenever I used to make these demo sites clonables, I used to, create content and leverage the shit out of it through all of the social media platforms. And then I used to also, send proposals, make case studies, not case study, but I used to tell people, okay, this is my capabilities. This is what I've done in this project. I use FinSuite. I use this. I used to send it through Upwork and, Yuno Juno or other freelancer platforms. And clients used to come to me. I used to close a lot of deals because of that.
Awesome. So that's really, really good advice there. Things you said were build in public. So as you're building stuff, share things, anything that you've built,
100%.
Publicize it. Don't just post it once. This is one thing that I found recently. Like, people will spend literally, weeks, months making a website and then post it on Twitter and expect like a tsunami of likes and comments and shit. Tweets last literally like 2 minutes, guys. So post more than once. Like, post regularly about your content, different parts of it, show different things, because otherwise no one's going to see it. So that's one thing that I would add to Shais' comment there. And then also, instead of trying to get cold outreach, cold emailing people from the get-go, it's probably a lot better to get onto Upwork and those types of sites where people are actively looking for you. Instead of emailing a business that's got a shit website that's not asking for a redesign at all, but you're like, hi, I've noticed that your website's a piece of shit. Let me help. No one's going to really respond to that. Whereas if it's on Upwork or Hey Juno or something like that, people are saying, hey, I want website help, send me a proposal, and you've got clonables, you've got things that you can send to them. So just to be clear, you're not saying no outreach, you're saying don't cold email and instead reach out to people that are already looking for you.
100%. Yeah. And another thing is, if you're going to do like targeted outreach, do not make that your bread and butter and like your number one priority, because that's one mistake that I did make. I used to make outreach my number one priority on my list, like above client work, above everything. Outreach. Never ever do that. Outreach should be like the last thing that you do. Number one is obviously client work, because if you do good work, people come back to you. So yeah, don't make outreach like a priority. Just make it, put on the back of your priorities for sure.
Yeah. AE Domains. I don't know if that's your real name, but I'm gonna say that's your YouTube name. He's mentioned no outreach. So yeah, just to be clear, we're not saying no outreach at all. What we're saying is that maybe starting out by building demo sites or clonables, having some kind of portfolio, and then bringing that portfolio to Upwork or other sites, and then outreaching from there makes more sense. And your website's shit. He's just put in the comment. What I was saying that is definitely don't do any cold outreach by approaching clients with negative vibes, because they are just junk mail you in you know, any platform, even if they want to work with you. You definitely don't say your website's shit. Okay, let's move swiftly on. Tell me about failure 3, being constantly rejected for being too young.
Oh man, I don't really like talking about my age anymore because I feel like, you know, it's a bit of like pick me behavior. But anyways, my age, yeah. So when I first started, I was at 17, 18. And nobody or no real clients used to tell me, "Oh, you are 18. I do not like you. I do not want to work with you." But you could always get that sense of, yeah, like these people are a lot older. You know, you could get that patronizing sense from a lot of people. So, I mean, naturally, when you are young, people will kind of automatically assume that you do not, that you know, that you don't know much, or they will 100% assume that they know more than you just because I'm younger than them. So because of that, it was very hard to kind of convince clients and be seen as the expert. So because of that, I feel like I got rejected a lot. You know, I remember I used to send, you know, as I said, like proposals and whatnot. I remember I remember clearly there was one project where I think it was an Upwork. It was going amazing. As soon as I mentioned my age, I thought it was going to be, oh, they might respect me because I'm hustling when I'm young. That wasn't the case. I said my age. They said, oh, unfortunately, we had to make like we went with someone else out of nowhere. Like it was like going so well. So there's a lot of stuff that comes with being young. Like I think the main thing is that people kind of assume that you don't know much, or that they automatically know more than you just because you're younger than them. Which I don't blame them. I mean, you know, I am a bit. I wouldn't say like I'm a guru. I'm not really like an expert, but yeah, I feel like my age kind of did make me get rejected a lot when I was first starting my career, for sure.
And I mean, it's interesting that like a lot of people reacted to that with rejection because, as you said, I mean, they may have been like, "Wow, you know, kudos to you. Like, really appreciate how young you are and the quality of the work you're doing." Do you think the age has held you back more than it's maybe given you a platform as, you know, a young person who's doing what you're doing?
I think it's a bit of is very bittersweet because on one hand, yes, you kind of have you can leverage your age, which I do leverage my age quite a lot, but you can leverage your age in a way where you can say, okay, yeah, I'm at 20, this is what I'm doing, this is what I've achieved. And you do get a lot of respect automatically, like anyone would. Like I've seen like quite a lot of people. There's one guy on Twitter, he's at 17. I think his name is Suleiman or something like that. So whenever I see a young person on Twitter or LinkedIn doing good, I automatically have a lot of respect for them because I know that it's very hard to do it when you're young, and I respect anyone who's young doing something with their life. So yeah, you do get a lot of respect. You know, people do respect you in no, I wouldn't say respect, but they say, oh yeah, like you're doing a lot of stuff for your age. But as soon as money comes involved or like something else comes involved, for example, a client, although they can tell you, yeah, like I respect what you're doing at this age, you know, I'm so happy for you, kudos to you. But then at the same time, when money gets involved, it's like, oh, do I really want to trust like a 20, 19-year-old with my money, £5,000, £10,000, you know? So yeah, it is bittersweet. The sweet side is, yes, I can leverage my age in my content and I can get a bigger personal brand. And the bitter side of it is clients automatically just have lower trust than you. For example, if there was a clone of me, right, and I'm 20, there was another person who's 35, clients will choose the person who's 35. Let's be real. So yeah, it is bitter in that sense.
Yeah. And just out of interest then, in terms of, building your personal brand, do you see, because it seems like you've got kind of different things cooking at the same time with obviously TalkFlow, your agency, where is like your direction as I guess agency owner / YouTuber / creative? Where do you see, the next year or so going?
Oh, I do not know. That's a very good question. I think I just want to, for me, everything that I do is literally because I enjoy it and I think it's fun. I think who knows where I'm going to be in a year or two. I'm just going to continue what I'm doing. There is one thing that I can say, which is that something that I'm working on right now with a good friend of mine, Vimalin, you know, my co-host of TalkFlow.
Yeah.
We're building a platform I don't want to, spoil it a bit too much. But yeah, we already got the idea, we already got the name and the domain. So anyone that's trying to steal it, go away. But yeah, we've got the platform that we're trying to build. And yeah, we're going to be releasing that quite soon. Perhaps still in the summer. I think before September, or definitely by the end of the year, we'll have the platform fully out there. So yeah, we're building a platform. That's something I'm very excited to work on. It's kind of like a SaaS software type company, where it's going to be like a subscription model and whatnot. So like, yeah, I'm very excited for that to be released. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it before. So I hopefully not. But yeah, I'm excited to build that. There's just a lot of different stuff that I want to do. Definitely, I want to start like my own YouTube channel, as well, like my own personal one outside of TalkFlow, where I just talk about anything that I want. Really, I'm really into like the whole productivity and like self-improvement type of stuff as well. So I kind of want to make videos around that. I also really enjoy seeing, as I said many times, I really enjoy seeing young people doing good stuff. So I kind of also want to kind of do something in that kind of area as well. Because a lot of people, I think I talked about this in the podcast with Emily, a lot of people my age, especially with the people that I come from, people with my background, they cannot see any other way to make money or have a good life apart from, going to uni, getting a job. And I know I'm very hypocritical with that because I do currently go uni. But yeah, I just want to show young people. I kind of want to be like, not I want to say role model, but I kind of want to be like the example that people use. Oh yeah, look at this person. He was from the same area as you. He was the same age as you, and look what he done. I kind of want to be an inspiration for young people that okay, there is a way to kind of make good money, enjoy your life without being tied to like a 9 to 5. Or I'm not saying 9 to 5 is bad. Sometimes it's very, very good. But for the people that enjoy growth as much as I do, a 9 to 5 is not the one for you. So yeah, I just want to inspire young people to kind of look at me and say, oh wow, like there is a bunch of cool shit that I can do even when I'm young. So
wow, okay, a bold year ahead then. But
hopefully, yeah.
Ed, may I say that you are already inspiring not just people that are younger than you, but I think people that are older than you as well. I think you're causing a stir, which is really epic.
Appreciate that.
TalkFlow's also like a really interesting growing channel. So yeah, I'm excited to see that develop and potentially your own YouTube channel as well. I mean, we've got a kind of, I'm seeing a kind of Ali Abdaal type channel.
Yeah,
you're at uni. I know he did medicine, but you're currently doing dentistry at uni now. Then
I'm going into my second year, so I still got a long 4 years ahead of me. But yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I definitely think you will probably know how to juggle time and you know which productivity apps to use, etc.
For sure.
Well, let's get into the community questions, quick fire community questions. Awesome. This is the first time I've done this on the podcast, so we'll just see how it goes. What I'm going to do is ask you some questions that I've been sent by people for you. People have DM'd me on Twitter and sent me emails and shit. So we've got a few different bits and bobs. And I'm just going to like quick fire style. It's not like you have to answer in 30 seconds or less or anything. But if you can just give us like kind of quick shot of it.
Okay. Let's go.
Are you ready to go? Yeah? Okay.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Who should be your first agency hire if you're starting an agency?
The person. Oh man! Oh shit! I wanted this to be quick, but
that's a tough first question. To be fair, though.
It is a tough question, but I know I'm just trying to articulate it. The person, that can do the stuff that you cannot do, or hire out the person that can do the task that you hate the most, or you're the worst at. Easy. So if you're shit at design, hire a designer. If you're shit at Webflow, hire a Webflow. So.
Okay, great. What one piece of advice would you give a freelancer starting out?
Do great work. The rest will fall into place.
Perfect. And frankly, if you've just jumped into this YouTube channel, you should go back to the start because he actually answers that question in way more detail.
Way more detail.
Yeah, way more detail. Which Webflowers are not getting recognized that should be?
Vimalin, that's my guy. Vimalin, I feel like me as well, but Vimalin, me, Jack, There's a lot of other people as well that I cannot think of. Oh shit. Harshit as well. He's an amazing Webflow developer from India. He's inspired a lot of people. He's doing great work. So yeah, Vimalin, Harshit, me, and Jack. Easy.
Cool. Who are your favorite YouTubers at the moment?
Ooh, does it have to be Webflow?
No, can be any YouTuber.
My favorite YouTubers at the moment is Hamza, First Man. I love First Man. And in terms of Webflow, I also throw a few Webflow people in there. Definitely, I would say Paint Digital, Painting Clocksmith on YouTube, and also John D. Saunders, 54 Digital. He's amazing as well. And obviously FinSuite.
Yeah. What's the favorite tool that you're currently using?
My favorite tool that I'm currently using, I mean, apart from Webflow, I don't want to say Webflow or Figma or Notion because those are so generic.
Yeah,
but
let's mix it up.
Oh man, this is hard. What tool am I using? Fuck. Let me see what tools I have open right now. Okay, Photoshop. That's shit. But the tool that I'm using. Oh, I know. TweetHunter.io. Amazing tool for Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. TweetHunter.io. Who is your perfect client?
My perfect client is a client that has. I was going to say that has money, but that's not really necessary. For me, the perfect client is a healthcare technology company that has some funding and they want an amazing website that has a team of around 5 to 10. No. What am I talking about? 10 plus employees. But yeah, like for me, my perfect company would be like a healthcare technology company, a health tech company that obviously has the budget. Yeah.
Okay, who is your worst client?
My worst client, I mean, apart from that stupid lawyer, I know you're watching this, that stupid lawyer, it was probably, I mean, like my worst client, like in general, it will probably be like a lawyer. I can't lie. Like I do not like working with lawyers anymore ever since that. So a lawyer.
Great. And what music should you listen to while you are working?
Ooh, I would say listen to binaural beats, which is just like, music for the brain. Just like, little beats. So yeah, just listen to binaural beats.
Okay, cool. And this is just a question from me. What is the number one productivity app that you would recommend people?
Notion, for sure. Notion, like
Okay.
Notion. Yeah, I literally have everything organized on my Notion, all my processes, all my project management, everything on Notion.
Okay, sweet. That is the quickfire questions done.
Awesome. I enjoyed that.
Thanks so much for everyone who sent those questions in, by the way. They were really, really good. And the final question for you before we wrap this thing up is, what is your next failure going to be?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think it's going to be a problem in the hiring side of things. I believe that I'm going to perhaps there's going to be a problem with like the team where like somebody can't, like I'm gonna get the wrong hire, or I'm gonna do some mismanagement with the team, because it's something that I'm quite new to. I've never worked in a job. I've never worked in anything else apart from Webflow. So it's like I don't really have much experience. So I think that the next failure for me is definitely going to be the thing that I'm most inexperienced at, which is hiring and running a team. So I think it's either going to be a fault in my management skills for a team, or me doing, hiring the wrong person.
Epic. Well, I mean, it's not epic to have that as your next failure, but it's good that you are self-aware enough to know that that is potentially a weakness. Well, thank you so much for being so vulnerable in this episode. It was really, really interesting to chat to you about all of this stuff. I feel like you're very humble for your age. I feel like most people at 20 who've got an agency would be absolute dickheads, and you're not.
Appreciate that, Jack. Thank you very much. It was really nice. I loved being here. Yeah.
Awesome. If people wanted to follow you on Twitter, or get you on YouTube, I'll put your links down here. But what's your Twitter handle actually?
Twitter is Shais Official. SHAIS with a capital S and a capital O, Shais Official.
Okay, cool. I'll put that down there so that anyone watching can follow. And then TalkFlow is your YouTube channel. So if you just type that in, you will find that, people. Awesome. Announcements just before we finish up. One, you can meet Shais and I. Don't know if we should be telling this, but I feel like we if you want to meet Shais and I on the 6th of October, we will be having a meal in London. More details to be announced. But if you're interested in coming to that, if you're based in the UK and you're watching or listening, come and meet us. We're going to have a Webflow meetup there. And it's going to be fun. So 6th of October, if you'd like to come, DM either me or Shais, and we can go from there. The other thing that I want to say is that this weekend, I'm going to be finishing up a blog post all about how to get your first clients. A lot of the conversation that I've had with young Webflowers is about how to get my first clients. How do I get my first clients? And I've done this really in-depth blog post. So sign up to the newsletter if you haven't, because it's going to be direct into your inbox along with other beautiful things like this episode. Shais, is there anything else that you want to tell people before we wrap up, or do you feel like you've said everything and you just want to get a cup of tea now?
I mean, first I want to say thank you, Jack. I actually really enjoyed this episode. It was probably the best podcast I've been on for sure. Make sure you guys subscribe to Webflow. Make sure Webflow. What am I talking about? Make sure you guys subscribe to Webflails. And yeah, make sure you hit a like. Let's try to get to what is the normal average like count, Jack?
Oh yeah, it's like thousands at the moment, mate.
Let's try to get to 20 at least this episode. You guys can hit 20. Come on, let's go. Let's try to get to 20 likes on this episode. I want this episode, when you click on when you filter Webflow's YouTube channel by popular, I want this episode to be number 1. So guys, let's try to smash the like button for sure.
Let's do that.
Awesome. And one last thing I want to say is, a lot of people ask me, how do I get my first client? How do I get my first client? If you want to know in short, it is do great work, and I guarantee you everything else will fall into place. Have attention to detail and do great work, and yeah, you'll be awesome. You'll be a very successful freelancer or agency owner. Do the basics well and clients will come. Sure. On that note, we're going to wrap up Webflail episode 7 with Shais Ahmad. Thank you so much, Shais, and see you later, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.